Hello, welcome to Tampa Bay Business Connections, where we are all about bringing awareness to your organization and spotlighting members. And today, of course, is our WPBA focus, and we are spotlighting some of their members today. And he's already sitting here waiting with me. Say hello to Steve Ford. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. We would love to hear all about what you do and who you are.
Well, what I do doesn't sound real exciting, but I'm an insurance agent, in particular an Allstate insurance agent here. We have two locations, one in Newport Richey and one in Trinity.
So it's not a glamour, right? A glamour sounding job, but you are super important. You're absolutely one of those essential workers, right?
Well, exactly. Yes, we are essential workers. It's not a glamorous position. You don't, grow up as a little kid saying, hey, I want to be an insurance agent. But it is an important role in the community. Yeah. So we're proud of what we do.
Sure. So tell me how you got started. Why insurance?
Well, that is a real good question. Truth be known, my wife Mo started in the insurance business 16 years ago. We had always, not always, but we for a long time owned our own businesses. Mm-hmm. And we had made a move back to Florida. We were in South Carolina for a couple of years, and we came back, and we didn't know what we wanted to do. And we had always had an interest in insurance and financial matters. And so we had friends that were in the business, and we looked around, and we came up with the fact that Allstate had the best opportunity out there. They had a training program and really, did a good job of helping you get
you well.
Exactly.
Important.
So we decided it was Mo's job to go start that. And
you started. I'll join you later.
Exactly. Well, it wasn't much later. It's hard to start a business by yourself, mm-hmm. and that's what she did. And once she got the training, she needed people, mm-hmm. and
sure.
I was just a natural fit. And that's how it all started.
And you lived in the same house, so there was no getting out of it.
Yeah, we really didn't have much choice. So right. That was interesting, and we got through that and alive, and we're good.
Alive. So, do you like buy in? I don't have a lot of understanding or knowledge about how that works. You buy a franchise, or how does that piece work?
Well, technically, we're not a franchise.
Okay.
I don't know how they got around that scenario, but it's very similar to that.
Okay.
So you can do a couple things. You can buy an existing book of business from an agent that may be leaving or retiring, or you could start from scratch with nothing. And that's what Mo did. She started from scratch. And
Let's do it the hard way.
Yeah. So it's call all your friends and neighbors and see who really likes you, and right. Do a lot of quoting. And I think that was the right way for us to do it, because we were able to build it from the ground up, and it was our customers, and we still have those customers from back then. And
wow.
So that's kind of a nice feeling, and they're loyal customers because of that.
Sure. So you started from scratch. You are your own business, but you're supported by the organization.
Right. Allstate offers us a lot of marketing.
Okay.
Of course, the brand name, everybody
sure.
knows that. So of course, we're in Florida. We get a lot of people moving down from New York, Michigan, Ohio.
Sure.
And they either have had Allstate, or they come down here and they have to get new insurance. And so we're one of the first ones that pops up. So
nice.
we get a lot of calls, and at least we get the first shot at it.
Very nice. And then, of course, you take good care of people. So that's what keeps people coming back. That's what keeps people around, is that you take good care of them.
Well, we like to think so. We both come from a customer service type of background. We're really not salespeople. And so, it hurts us sometimes because we're not pushy salespeople. Yeah. But in the long run, that's the way to build a business.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And from a consumer perspective, nobody likes it.
Yeah.
right. Nobody likes the pushy salesperson that's going to stay until you buy or die, right?
Right.
None of us like that.
Yeah, we just never do that. It just doesn't work out well for us if we try to do that. It's not in our DNA.
Well, that's good, because we prefer it that way.
Okay.
So tell me the kinds of insurance, because I'm often surprised that insurance people don't do all insurance, right? It's like you specialize in a kind of, or a piece of insurance.
Right. Well, that was what really attracted us to Allstate. Most people don't know this, but really within the Allstate walls, there's 4 business models within there. There's what everybody knows, the property and casualty, Allstate auto, and that's one segment. And then there's a commercial side to the business.
Business.
Yep. And there's a financial side to it.
Oh.
And then last but not least, there's a benefits side to it.
Oh.
Yep.
So we understand auto, we understand business, like those of us who are in business, we have business insurance. Tell me about more about the other two.
Well, financial is just like going to any financial person and asking them,
Financial planning?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. We mostly do it for clientele, of course, and that's kind of a nice feature that we have. It's a no cost. We'll do a financial planning thing for you. We work with financial specialists throughout the state and throughout the United States, actually, if it's a big enough position. Yeah, we're on the Bill Gates Foundation. We handle money with that. Not me personally, but the Allstate team. And so it's just like going in anywhere. A lot of people, like I said, come down from up north, they retired, they have a 401k or just sold their house in Long Island for $1 million.
Yeah, rough.
That's what you can get for a house there.
Yeah, right.
And that's a retirement nest egg, and they need to know what to do with it. So that's pretty self-explanatory. What most people don't know is the Allstate benefits, because that is just like Aflac. So everybody's heard of Aflac because of all the commercials and the duck and everything. So
interesting.
Yeah, Allstate benefits, they're actually larger in dollars than Aflac, but we don't advertise. So all the savings we get from not advertising, we pass on in premiums. So our premiums are lower. We have very large.
Interesting.
We have large companies like Walmart, Home Depot. We have Pasco school system.
Wow.
We have a lot of the school systems, fire departments, police departments, a lot of
because
big
it's lower
entities.
cost.
Yeah, it's really pretty easy when you go in, and compare apples to apples like that. It's a no-brainer, really.
So I've never had Aflac. I don't know a whole lot of. Tell me about those kinds of benefits. It's like me, as I'm a business owner, my husband owns his own business. What kind of benefits could we have?
Well, so those are benefits like an accident policy, a disability policy.
Okay.
They also include things like a cancer policy and hospital policies.
Okay.
So
Those kinds of
those are the
things.
type policies we're talking about.
And we have, I don't have any employees personally. My husband has one, and looking to add another one. Are there then things for them separate from us?
No, everybody, you pick and choose because there's different levels of benefits you can get, but overall they're the same plans. Like if you and I were working together in the same business, we could both have the
Be
same
on the
cancer
same plan.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Separate plan, separate, so it's portable.
they're
too,
individual
right,
plans.
So
okay.
right.
It's not connected to like my business or his business. It's connected to the individual.
Well, so it's written through the business for the individual.
Okay.
And they're portable. If they leave you or they leave me, like my employees have it, they can continue on with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, they're nice benefits.
That's great. So you guys don't really talk about those things, though.
Well,
because I network with you guys sometimes, and I don't.
We try to stay in our lane in the networking groups. If they're seat specific,
Sure.
So that's why we really we don't try to talk about it if somebody's in there already.
Okay. What else can you tell us about insurance for those of us who are a little more clueless? I hate to call myself clueless, but in that department, I kind of am. What else might we want to know?
I'd say the biggest thing is the fact that you get inundated every day when you go home in the mailbox, all these flyers, everybody. Mm-hmm. And I hate to say it because Allstate does the same thing. We can all save you money. How's that possible?
Right.
But, and so they've really kind of dumbed down the industry a bit, in my opinion. It used to be if you needed insurance or wanted to talk about insurance, you went to the office.
Right.
Right. Kind of like a doctor or a lawyer. You made an appointment, you went to the office and you went through things. And that used to be almost 100% the way it was done. Now we're lucky if it's 10, 25% of our business. Everything's done a lot.
They're going online.
On the internet, over the phone call. And so we've disconnected a little bit. We prefer people to come in because that's when you really see the value anyway.
Right.
People say, well, I I got a quote from Geico, and it's the same coverage. That fact that it may look like the same coverage limits really doesn't mean inside that 45 pages of the policy. That's all it's saying.
And did you read your policy?
Yeah.
I'm thinking no.
Yeah, exactly.
Because nobody does, right? So you really put a lot of trust in your insurance agent.
Well, you should.
They're going to take care of you.
And a good lawyer will tell you that too. The problem is, you have some law firms out there saying, don't call your agent, call us. Well, something wrong with that.
Right.
We don't say, don't call your
call your lawyer.
lawyer. Call us. We're not legal experts. We're insurance. We tell all our clients, and we give them all our cell phone numbers. We don't care. Weekends, that's when bad things happen too.
Right.
We say, if there's an incident, call us, because we're going to help guide you through it.
Right.
Because that's when you see the value.
Right. And that's super important to have somebody that you can call. And so I'm just going to venture a guess and say that's how you guys really stand out. Because I always ask, the guests, all right, how are you different? Because there's 5 million of you, right? Insurance people out there.
Exactly.
Why would we call you? But that sounds like that's why.
Well, that is a big thing.
Yeah.
I can't tell how many times, we tell real estate agents or people going out shopping, because they shop on weekends, right?
Sure.
Call us up. We might not be able to give you the exact answer right then, but we're going to answer the phone, and we're going to help guide you through. Maybe it's a flood question or just an overall question about the neighborhood, which we know most of them. But we can usually knock out a quote pretty quick too, even on the weekend if you really need it.
Well, I don't know that anybody has to have it on the weekend, but if you get a new car, you want to make sure that you're covered. And sometimes that you don't plan ahead for that. You're like, oh, I just bought a new car.
Well, funny thing about
better take care of that.
You're right. So you buy a new car on a Saturday, and sometimes it won't let you off the lot without proving insurance.
And how do you do that?
Well, right. So in Florida, there's a rule that if you buy a car and you're trading one in, that car that you purchase is covered on your policy for 14 days.
Oh, did you know that? I didn't know that. That's good to know.
And most people don't know that. And I try to educate the car people, but what they say is, well, look, it's not us. We get it, but it's the loan. The people you're taking the loan out from, they want to see it. They got to see it right now.
Well, if you already carried insurance, it makes sense that you're going to continue to carry insurance.
You would, Well, that's why that's that 14-day rule, because of the weekend and things like that.
Right, things happen.
Yeah. Well, with us, even if we don't answer the phone, it's going to go to Mother Allstate, and they can take care of them.
Mother Allstate. So somebody's going to answer the phone. So you happen to be at, bar mitzvah or something, right?
Exactly.
Because things happen, right? You get to actually have a couple days off somewhere along the line.
We try.
Yeah. So we are just wrapping this up, but is there anything else you'd like to share with us really quickly before we go?
Just that we're heavily involved in the community with the charity organizations and things we do. We're real proud of that, and we think that really helps with what we do.
Yeah. People know that you care when you make connections to your community. When you get involved, they know that you care. And now more than ever, consumers want to be connected to and involved with companies that care about the community around them.
I think so. I think so.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming and being on the show with me today. I appreciate it. I actually learned some stuff, which is awesome.
Good.
Which is always a good thing.
Right.
So if you are looking for someone to answer some questions or help you out, now you know who to call. And we are going to be right back after this quick break with our next guest on the Tampa Bay Business Connections show. We will see you in just a minute. So come right on back with us. And welcome back to the Tampa Bay Business Connection show, where we are bringing more spotlight to your organization, and we're bringing in members to give them an added value for their membership. And our next guest is somebody that I've known for a while, and I'm excited to hear all about her business. And I'd love for you to help me welcome Deborah Diaz. Are you there? There she is, coming to us from Zoom. Thank you for being with me today, Debora. Why'd I call you Deborah?
Thank you for the invite. It's my pleasure to be here.
So I'm excited to hear all about, not that I don't know some about what you do, but I'm excited to hear about what you do. I know you own the law office of Deborah Diaz. Tell me all about it.
Well, I have been serving the Pasco, Pinellas, Hernando County area for 25 years. We just had a big anniversary celebration in February, just before everything hit. Had a great big celebration where we had a lot of people gathering. So that was good. I do everything related to family law, divorce, alimony, child support, custody, help people with parenting plans, contempt issues, domestic violence injunctions. I'm also a Supreme Court certified family law mediator, so I can help people as their case is pending or pre-suit if they haven't consulted me with as an attorney. It's two different roles. As a mediator, I'm acting as the impartial third party for the case.
Okay, so this is just a question that most people may know, but I don't. If you start as their mediator, can you then become their attorney, or no?
Absolutely not, because I would have found out things as a mediator, which is a different role, impartial. If they don't get an agreement and they choose that they would like to go forward with litigation, then they would have to choose an attorney.
Gotcha. Okay, interesting. So much about that field that I just don't even know, and I would venture to say that many people don't understand for sure.
Right.
Family law sounds really big. Do you specialize in a piece of it, or just anything family law?
It's basically family law is really big. The majority of my cases are either someone going through a divorce, paternity cases, meaning when people have children and they're not married, a lot of those cases, or some kind of enforcement of which we call post-judgment cases. People aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not following the parenting plan that they have in place. Those are the three kind of major issues, and there's some sub-issues in those, but really that's the majority of what I do.
Wow. Okay. So how long have you been an attorney?
Since 1994.
So a couple years. You've been at this. And have you always owned your own law practice then?
I started out very short for a year working with another attorney when I came, because I actually relocated from New York. I graduated from Syracuse University and decided that I was done with the cold. So rather than start a practice in New York, we moved to Florida for the warmer weather. And it was a good idea. I started with another attorney for a year and then went off on my own. So for the majority of my practice, I've been by myself.
By yourself. Was it, so you did law practice with the other attorney as well?
Yes.
You kind of knew that you were headed down this road anyway? Yeah.
Yes, the other attorney did family law as well, and so it was a good way to get familiar with the local county, the community, introduced to the judges, and so it was some good kind of just things that you don't learn in law school.
Right. I'm sure. Plus the connections, that's invaluable, right?
Yes, it is.
Being connected to all those people.
Yes.
So tell me, why law? Is this something you always knew you wanted to do?
Although it might seem kind of like a trite answer, but absolutely yes. I always wanted to be a lawyer. Sometimes, life happens and goes on. My undergraduate is in industrial and labor relations from Cornell University. And I went in and I worked as a assistant personnel director at the University of Rochester for 13 years. And the more I worked, one of my roles was working with union contracts, collective bargaining, handling unfair labor practices and grievances. And as I worked with attorneys, more and more it became apparent, I really want to do this. I am doing this. So I decided to take the LSAT, resigned from my job, and went to law school full time for 3 years, and then graduated in 1994.
Wow, that sounds like a big change. How exciting.
Yes, second career. So I say I'm a second career lawyer.
A second career law. That's awesome. I think that's awesome. I can't ever imagine being a lawyer, but I remember as a child knowing that I wanted to be a writer. So sometimes you just know when you're young what appeals to you. What might be a
Yes.
good fit for you.
Yes, and I love writing too, and that can help me because I try to do one every week or every other week. I write a lot of blogs. I'm giving out a lot of information to clients, and they can go to my website. I try to stay, I'm current on things, and just like so recently I wrote about COVID-19 and how it's affecting child support. COVID, the stimulus check, how are parents going to be dividing that? So, what to do if your spouse isn't following the parenting plan. So I like to write, and it's a natural fit with being a lawyer.
I guess that would be a natural fit. So where can people go if they want to read your blog and learn some stuff, educate themselves around family issues?
It's www.Debora, Debora, Diaz, Diaz, law.com. And then on the right-hand side of the homepage, there's a scrolling list of the blogs, and you can also do a search by topic if there's something you're particularly interested in.
And can they follow you on social media? Are there other places they can get information, or do you stay kind of to your blog?
No, I actually love being able to share with social media. So I have a Twitter account, which I post my blogs there and post up-to-date things that are happening very quickly. And that's twitter.com, Deborah Diaz Law. I have an Instagram account, which is Instagram.com, Deborah Diaz Law, just to be consistent so they can follow me there. And I have a business Facebook page, Deborah Diaz Law.
So everywhere you're to be found, it's the same.
Yes.
Which is awesome. That's great.
Yes.
People try to be clever and come up with these cutesy-wootsy little names for different places to find you, and then you can't find them because you can't remember what the cutesy-wootsy name was. So,
right.
Awesome. So tell me what makes you different from other family law attorneys. Surely there's something that you feel like makes you stand out or makes you different or unique.
I think it's, a couple things. Number one, I tell clients what they need to hear. That's how I roll. That's what people know. That's what they say about me. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to put rose-colored glasses on. If it's a 17-year marriage, longer, and I believe that it's going to be alimony, I'm going to tell them that. It's an alimony case. I tell them like it is. Not, so as my motto is, I tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And the other thing is we're very, very responsive with our client service. One of the number one things, grievances about attorneys is they don't return phone calls. Well, that's not going to happen at my office. We return phone calls as soon as feasibly possible. Sometimes, my assistant's busy. I'm in court or in mediation, but we are going to get back to the client. I understand. I've handled thousands of cases. It's their first case. Sometimes they need a question answered. They're very emotional. And so we strive to do our best. I say that we're going to wow our clients with our customer service.
That's awesome. Because this is a scary, if you've ventured into needing a family law attorney, it's a scary place. Right? It's a scary place to be, and you feel uncertain, you feel lost. And I've been there where you're just thinking, you call and leave a message and then nobody calls you for 3 days.
Right.
Well,
And
they're sleeping, right? But you're not sleeping.
Exactly. They're going. A lot of times I have on my website, we get things, all the time. Of course, they're emailing or sending a contact at 2 or 3 in the morning. They're going to get the next business day, 24 hours. What we try to say within 24 hours, as long as it's feasible, we will return a call or an email.
So that they aren't just hanging out there in limbo wondering, what in the world am I going to do? My attorney doesn't care.
Right. We also have, it's a no judgment zone. I hear it all. And sometimes when I think I've heard it all, I hear something else. But,
right.
but I need to know everything. So I have it right in, you've got to tell me everything so I know what I'm dealing with the particular case.
Right. So there aren't any surprises later.
Exactly.
So, and of course, everything's confidential, right? So somebody reaches out to
Absolutely,
you and
yes.
comes to talk to you. They know that it's perfectly safe to say the truth because you're going to be confidential.
Absolutely, attorney-client privilege when they're meeting with me and speaking with me. No one's hearing anything from us at our office. Let's put it that way. It is confidential.
That's awesome. Okay, and I know we only have a couple of minutes left, but I know that you're also very connected and active in our community. So you want to share a couple of things that you're doing right now that make a difference in our community?
Yes. I believe strongly in giving back. This community's been good to me. I'm fortunate that I'm able to give back. And that's, and I love that. One of the organizations I'm involved in is Marjorie's Hope. We fill backpacks, collect supplies and fill backpacks. We've done 3,500 the past couple years. Goal for this year, and what makes us different is we also fill the backpacks with hygiene items. Our stuffing process is a little bit more difficult this year, but that's one of the things, that's one of the things. And one of the other organizations is we do a lot of quarter auctions I've involved in, which we pick a 501c3, a local one community, and such as One Community Now, Metropolitan Ministries, the Good Samaritan Health Clinic, and we do a fundraiser every other month, and the money that's raised goes back to that local organization. So that's something else I'm involved in.
Very cool. So there's each quarter auction has a different beneficiary, so to speak.
Exactly. Yes, a different. It's got to be a local, and for that, it's got to be local, based in Pasco County, 501c3. And we're really targeting those smaller groups that sometimes can't qualify for grants.
Right. Or they don't know how to, or they're just
or they don't know how to. Exactly.
But they're doing really amazing things too. So having the ability to support them, I think, is really awesome. So,
yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming and spending some time with me today. I sure appreciate that. I actually learned some stuff, and I'm sure that our viewers have learned some stuff too. And we would love to see you at the next networking event when we can all come back out into the world. But in the meantime, if someone has a need, they know how to get a hold of you. Thank you so much for being with me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Alrighty, see you later. Okay, you guys, we are wrapping up our second guest today. And in just a couple of minutes, we need to take a break, but we'll be right back at the Tampa Bay Business Connections show and have our next guest on the show and see what else is happening in our community in the WPBA world. I will talk to you in a minute. See you then. And welcome back to Tampa Bay Business Connections, the show where we're bringing awareness to organizations and added value to their members. So our next guest today is from Journeys by Jack Dream Vacations, and his name is Jack Koch. Are you with me, Jack?
I am. Good afternoon.
There you are. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. So, of course, you're here to tell us all about you. So tell us about Journeys by Jack.
So, sure. I am the owner of Journeys by Jack, which is an independent franchise in the Dream Vacations network. We handle all types of travel planning, be it cruises, all-inclusive resort vacations, family summer vacations, domestic, international, whatever. If it floats, flies, or involves you not sleeping in your own home tonight, odds are we have resources to put it together for you. So we basically act as a sort of a travel concierge service. We put everything together from A to Z, and all you need to do is know when to be at the airport or the cruise pier or wherever it is, depending on what type of travel you're taking. And we do all of this in most cases at no cost to the consumer. A lot of people don't realize that we are paid almost entirely by commission from travel operators, from the cruise lines, from the parks, from the hotels. So it costs you absolutely nothing extra, and you get professional support and guidance and insight, and oftentimes exclusive offers with a lot of the larger companies that we partner with.
So kind of like the old-fashioned travel agent where you used to go into the building, right? Back in the day, we went into the building and then they put all that together for you. You do the same thing for people.
We do it all, and we do it all, most of the time, even before COVID-19. Vast majority of my work I did virtually. On your schedule, your availability, when you're home and comfortable, you call me, we talk about what you want, put the options together, send you an email, make the revisions that you want, back and forth, so on and so forth, until we settle on a final product.
Super easy. So speaking of COVID, I'm sure that this has affected your business some. Tell us what's going on. What's new in the whole travel world now that we're all, wearing masks and social distancing, and tell me all the craziness.
So the first thing I'll say, I'm biased obviously because I am an agency owner, but
Sure.
I think this crisis really underscored the value of working with professional agents. Early on, when the cancellations started, I had days with vendors where I spent 10 or 12 hours on hold, waiting for reps to make changes and resolve issues. My clients didn't. All my clients did was shoot me an email and let me know what they wanted to do. And when I got it sorted out, they got an email back saying, here's your new confirmation, and here's when you can expect your refund, or what have you. They weren't the ones wasting hours on hold.
Right.
So there was a lot of that. We have gotten through that, and there has actually been a lot of exciting news in the last week or so. So the first is with cruises specifically. Cruises have been a huge wild card because they present such a unique challenge in a lot of ways. Right. Royal Caribbean and Norwegian, two large competitors, have actually teamed up together, and they have formed a working group that is developing policies and protocols to return to traditional cruising. And they're expecting their first report for the CDC by the end of this month, by August 31st. So we're hopeful that will put some meat into the plans to resume cruise travel. Some other smaller lines have recently come out. Windstar announced their plans this morning and their efforts that they're taking to mitigate the risk aboard their ships. So the cruise industry, which I think has been the hardest hit, has made some real progress recently. Traditional travel, if you will, fly off to a resort somewhere, whatever, has started to resume. There are some challenges, and again, I think this is where the benefit of working with an agent comes in. Every destination has its own set of rules and regulations. Different airlines have different requirements. Hotel chains have different requirements. There's things that are open or not open or partially open or open by appointment only. So part of the planning process right now is I kind of take all that into consideration. So I had a family this summer that was working with changing plans from a destination that was closed. And we went through options for about 5 different countries. I gave them lots of here's this country's requirements. In addition to the country requirements, the resorts have their own requirements, and the resorts aren't all necessarily open. The country is open. Long story short, that particular family wound up making a domestic trip, going out west and doing some domestic land travel and seeing some of our great country, which is a great option right now and is the least complicated option. But travel is resuming. Islands around the Caribbean have reopened. They have safeguards and procedures in place with either testing at the border or health screening before you go, or lots of different things. It's coming back slowly, and it's
Sure.
quite different right now than it has been. So I think the best advice I've been giving everybody, unless you really absolutely have a burning desire to be somewhere right now, save your money and make your plans for next year. Next year is already booking up fast. Inventory of cruises that I've been searching for next year is much more restricted than it has been in the past. Prices are higher than they've been.
Sure.
Because everybody lost their plans this year and moved everything to next year, which created an artificial demand situation.
Right.
So that's the best advice. But if you really are bent on going someplace this year, there are still options Travel is starting to resume. There's just a lot of considerations to take in right now.
Sure. And you're saying that domestic, keep it at home. There's still lots of stuff you can do, but it's less hassle, right? Because we're not having to deal with other countries and what their regulations and those kinds of things look like.
Correct. Domestic is the least complicated because you're not dealing with the danger of an international border and being stranded at a border somewhere. Even domestically, there are still challenges that are continuing to change. Hawaii has updated their guidance several times, and everybody has seen the news about New York and New Jersey and that area and the requirements that they're putting on travelers from certain states. So even domestically, there are still a lot of things to take into consideration. But there are some great options out there. It just takes a little bit of time to dig through it and find what fits.
Which is where you come in, right? So we don't have to do the digging. You'll do the digging for us, right?
That's what I do.
Excuse me. That makes good sense. We actually were, for our anniversary in March, my husband and I had plans. And of course, that was when everything happened and stuff was, slammed shut. And we did not use a travel agent. We had just done it ourselves, gone online, found the bed and breakfasts and found the hotels and all those things. And we didn't get refunds from anybody. And the our airline tickets, we didn't get those refunded either because the wait was so long. I mean, you had to wait on hold for so long that it was like hours, 19 or something stupid, right? We're like, okay, so we're not doing that. So there goes that money.
There was a lot of that. There were some situations that it took honestly a couple of months to get resolved. Again, the cruise lines in particular some of them were extremely challenging because everybody thinks, well, it should be easy. You cancel the cruise, refund the money. But they don't consider how many different ways a cruise is paid for, how many different nationalities are involved that, money came in from. So canceling a cruise and making those adjustments is a massive accounting undertaking. So some of those situations, it took a couple of months to get resolved by the time, because, they had such a massive backlog of work to deal with.
Right.
And then, of course, they're, furloughing staff because they have no revenue coming in.
Right.
And they're trying to be able to, stay in business and keep the ships literally afloat for whenever they can go back to business. It has been an exceptionally challenging time. But I think we are through the worst of it. There may still be some more cancellations and suspensions this fall as they're still ironing out the details. But like I said, there has been a lot of work done and a lot of encouraging signs from all of the industries, from the airlines, from the cruise lines, from the hotels, the various trade groups, that there's some great headway being made on precautions to take to be able to allow travel to resume with some reasonable safety.
And so would you say that it's safe to book cruises for next year? I mean, you feel like we're past the scariest part or the, we don't want to book a January cruise or a March cruise, which, that's our anniversary and we lost last year's money. We don't want to. So we're talking about, it's time to plan for March because our anniversary is coming up more quickly than we'd like to admit. But gosh, we are afraid to buy anything.
So obviously, I don't have a crystal ball. It's currently in the shop being cleaned.
Right.
But personally, we are booked for next year. We have a spring break trip booked for our family, and we have a summer cruise booked for our family. Anything can happen. I mean, the situation is constantly changing. But I think by next summer, we're going to see one of two things. By next summer, we're either going to see a vaccine or we're going to see the point where we know what we're living with and we know what precautions that they have to take to be able to safely operate a ship, be it, testing before people board or, whatever kind of other changes need to make on board to the onboard, filtration and sterilization systems to make it safe. Between those two things, I think one way or the other, if the industry doesn't come back, I don't know what the future holds after that. I can't even begin to imagine what these companies have deep pockets, but they can't hold on forever without
Right.
somewhere.
Yes, you have to have something in the coffers to pay the staff to continue to wait to go back to work, right?
Yep.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Well, gosh, there's a lot going on right now in our world. And of course, everyone's concerned about what's happening with the COVID. But we all also want to get back to living our lives, right? We all also want to get back to or look forward to a time when we can go out without masks, and right, especially on a vacation, right? We'd like to vacation without a mask on our face, if that's possible. So, thank you for all the information. I sure appreciate kind of the update. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us? We got a couple minutes left before we have to go. What makes you unique, or something you'd like to share with us about working with you as a business?
So I think what makes me unique is just this. This is what I do. I've always been the guy in the family who does all the travel planning and does all the legwork and stuff. That's really what I enjoy. So I think there's that, and the other just tip that I will add. There's been a lot of news about it over the years about the concept of travel insurance. Now is really the time people need to consider, especially when you're talking about some of these major trips that are, $10, $15, $20,000. Whether you buy it from me or not, I don't care. Take the time, find something, spend the extra few $100 to protect your investment. So when this happens, and you can't get a hold of the airlines and hotels to cancel and get your reservations refunded and stuff, you've got some kind of protection.
Something.
Yeah.
So that's the advice of the day. Get the travel insurance.
Right? Yeah,
Right?
like I said, whether you buy it from me or not, I don't care. I'm happy to answer any questions about it, explain what I have to offer, but take that extra step to protect your family and provide the peace of mind.
That is absolutely good advice that I did not follow this last March. Thank you so much for being on the show with us. I appreciate your time. And I look forward to seeing you when we're able to get out and network again. I'm sure I'll see you back out there with WPBA. So
Absolutely.
And hopefully sooner than later. But for now, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Alrighty, thanks.
Alrighty, see you later. And you guys, don't forget to come back in just a few minutes. We're going to have our final guest of the week. Delynn is going to talk to us about WPBA. So I will see you guys in just a minute. Be sure and come on back with us. And welcome back to the Tampa Bay Business Connections show, where we're bringing awareness to organizations and added value to their members. So our final guest today is my friend and the lovely John Gaston. Are you with me yet?
I am. Hello, Clara Rose, and I love you too. One of my besties here.
That's right. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I sure appreciate your time.
No problem.
So you are here to talk about the wonderful WPBA.
West Pasco and Pinellas Business
Yes.
Association. I know where my heart is, and I've been a member of for about 10 years now.
Yeah, actually not just a member, but you were kind of in on the ground floor, weren't you?
Well, kind of, more or less. So it did start probably about a year or two before I joined in, but there was probably like maybe 5 people at the time. It was when the market was doing really, really badly, and we're all sitting around saying, what should we do?
How can we fix this? What can we do?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, mercy. And we've come a long ways. So tell our audience, if they're not familiar, tell them about the West Pasco Pinellas Business Association, if you will.
Okay, nicknamed WPBA,
Yes.
has been around, as I said, for more than 10 years. I've been with it for 10 years. I think it was 2008, roughly, it started. And it started out as a networking group. And this is definitely one of my favorite stories to tell. So it started out as a basic networking group when, some of the networking groups were really not that popular. They were just kind of getting off the ground. And as I said, it was just a handful of people at the time kind of sitting around trying to figure out how to, turn the markets around and get
How to
business.
survive.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then over the years, we did start growing in membership and such. And one of the things I think that makes us a little bit different than other networking groups, and I think that makes people want to join us, is that in addition to being a networking group, which is how we started, we also started giving back to the community. we started doing some events, and again, just to bring the community together with our members. Let's face it, we all live and work in this community. So our clients are the people who live in this community.
Right.
So we wanted to do something to appreciate them, show our appreciation to them by giving back to them. So we were doing things like some events, some Christmas events, and which we all know how the Grinch saved Christmas. We have a wonderful bowling event that we do to help breast cancer women struggling with breast cancer right now. And then we did something in the also called a what was it? It was a summer fling or a spring fling kind of a thing as well. So there were several events that we did where we invited the community to come and be a part of it with us. And we would do some fundraising during that time and give back to the community. Once we started doing that, and we kind of started doing it on a little bit of a regular basis because it felt good.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
It feels good giving back.
Yeah.
So our accountant basically said to us, you guys really need to do something. You're collecting a lot of money in, you know. So, the IRS is going to start wondering. So that's when he set us up and put us into the nonprofit, the 501c3. So that's kind of how that came about.
And we do, I say we because I'm a part of WPBA too. We do some really, really amazing things in the community. The How the Grinch Saved Christmas is huge. It's a huge event. And this last year, I don't know if you remember the numbers, but wow, it was like standing room only. We almost need a bigger venue. Of course, maybe not this year because we're in, COVID mode, but wow, it was standing room only. It was crazy.
I know. It really has. And how it started out, it's really kind of funny. I don't know if I have time to tell the story of how it started out, which is really, yes, okay, good. It is definitely one of my favorite stories. And you've probably heard it a million times because I say it as often as I can. But it's one of the ones that kind of started us out way back when we started saying, okay, so business is slow. And we started saying, well, let's do something to bring our members together with the community. And we started to say, well, let's do a home buyer seminar because I'm in the mortgage business. The founder of WPBA, Barry Horvath, he is also in the mortgage business. So we said, and at the time, keep in mind, this is back in 2010, roughly, the mortgage business was pretty non-existent. There was not a lot going on. People were losing houses. And that's actually kind of funny because it started out as a lot of people are losing their homes, sadly, to foreclosures and short sales. When they, sorry. Are you guys there?
There,
sorry.
You're back. You went away for a moment, but you're back. It's all good.
I had a phone call.
It's all good.
But anyway, so there was a lot of short sales and foreclosures going on at the time, and people sadly were losing their houses left and right. So we wanted to educate the community, the real estate partners, things like people in the community in the real estate world, or people thinking of buying, or if they had a home that they might have to short sale or foreclose or whatever. We wanted to give them education. So we did a seminar on short sales and foreclosures at the Board of Realtors. At that seminar, and we invited people, and it was shortly before Christmas. So jokingly, we called it How the Grinch Stole My House.
I haven't heard that part before.
I know. If you go back to the very first Grinch flyers that I'm sure are out there
somewhere,
that's what it was. That's what it was called, How the Grinch Stole My House, because at the time people were losing their homes, whether it was short sale or foreclosures. And we were again sponsoring we had some snacks and some food, and we have some music and everything. We did it at the Board of Realtors, and it was right before Christmas, so it ended up being more kind of a party thing.
An educational party, right?
Then so the seminar part was like 30 minutes. The party part was like 3 hours.
Right.
To the point where the next year, Sammy Copeland from the Board of Realtors said, guys, because she charges one fee if you're giving an educational seminar. She charges a different fee if you're renting the room for a party.
For a party. So they didn't let you get away with it twice, is what you're saying.
No, no, yeah, she didn't. So yeah, she said, guys, as much as, and I love Sammy to pieces. Yeah, she kind of figured that out quickly. But again, it all kind of just happened. But what we had done at that, how it kind of all started was, you get a whole bunch of people in a room. So in this community of Newport Richey, what do people do? We sell 50-50 tickets.
Well, of course we do.
Like that.
Right. Because it's fun.
So it's fun. So we're selling 50-50 tickets and everybody's having a great time. And they call the person at the end. And then we sat there and we said, so what do we do with the other 50%?
Right.
We have this stack of money here. What should we do? Well, at the time, Barry had a friend whose wife was going through cancer and she was in stage 4. And sadly, they had, I think it was 3 kids or 4 kids. I don't remember. But anyway, they had children and there really wasn't going to be much of a Christmas because obviously medical bills and everything that was going on in their lives. So we actually took the money and we went out and we bought Christmas presents that year. So we bought Christmas presents for the whole family, the children, as well as the wife, as well as him. And because we just felt that we wanted to give them, even if it was for a little while, something that wasn't related to what was going on in their life. We wanted to give a little bit of sunshine, a little bit of happiness amongst all of the stuff that they were dealing with. So that's kind of how the first one started. And it was a lot of fun. And like I said a million times, at the end of that, we went, wow, that felt good. Let's do it again.
That was awesome. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
And so now we are how many years later? This year is 10, right?
This will be our 10th year,
year of the Grinch.
Due to COVID, not sure how it's going to go yet, but yes, this is going to be our 10th year doing the Grinch.
Wow.
And it has been amazing, and this community has come together like unbelievably, and all of the business partners and people within our WPBA organization and outside of the organization, just the business community in general have really poured their hearts and their lives into this event that we do, and we've really enjoyed the success of it together.
Wow, and it really is wonderful. It is making a difference in lives within our community, right? It is. Sometimes when you donate to a charity or you get involved in something, you don't really know where the money goes because you can't see, beyond the event. People can tell you where it goes, but you don't really know. But we really know where the money's going. And actually the families are there, right? They're at the event. And it all goes back to local people right here. It's not leaving this area, this community. And like we said, most of the time, if they're up for it, the families are invited and they're there and you get to meet them and you get to have dinner with them and you get to talk to them. It's really been amazing. Years past, even. I know this year we had some people that were there last year, so you get some updates, and so you see what your assistance or your love gift or whatever you want to call it, because we're really providing Christmas often for these families, these kids who probably wouldn't have had Christmas. And so that is a really big deal. That's a big deal to us because it feels good to help, but it's a big deal to their families and their friends and it's a big deal to those kids. So, and I think you're right. I think that's one of the things that does make us a little bit different because it is right here. And you're right. We do invite those families back who was a recipient this year gets invited back next year. So we can hear how it changed their lives. And I think that's nice. I think people want to hear that because like you said, so many times they give money and, you never hear another thing about it. So now they can see the people and talk to the people and the people that we have had such amazing stories, as you know, we've had some beautiful, amazing stories. Yeah. Some real tearjerker stuff for sure. But aside from the tearjerker stuff, there's also some really amazing things where you see people, come back and say, wow, this meant the world to us to be able to provide Christmas for a family, or wow, we didn't get evicted from our home because, of this extra support or whatever. So I'm WPBA, I'm a part because of the heart part. You can network anywhere, and we have a wonderful organization, seat-specific networking. We have some non-seat-specific networking, but the heart part is what attracted me to membership. And I know in talking with different members that a lot of people were attracted by that same thing. It's like we are really and truly making a difference in the community around us, which is, of course, I believe we're called to do. So fits beautifully with my belief system. So, anything else you want to share really quickly? We're almost out of time, but anything else about WPBA that the world should know?
I would encourage people to go, because like I said, we are absolutely different from any other networking group. Like you said, you can network anywhere, and there's some great groups out there, but we are definitely different. And I would encourage people to go on and learn about us. And whether you have a business or not to represent, just go on and learn about us and see what we're doing, because not everything is seat specific, as you said.
Right. We're doing other things too. So
we are.
Thank you so much for taking some time out of your crazy busy life and schedule to be here and talk about WPBA. I always appreciate you, my friend.
Oh, and I love you too, honey. And I would always, it is absolutely one of my passions as well, WPBA, and wouldn't be part of it for this long if I wasn't passionate about it. Yes, if I wasn't passionate about it.
That's for sure. All right, my friend, I will see you at our next virtual networking. Thanks so much.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I will see you guys next time on the Tampa Bay Business Connections show, focusing on WPBA right here with me, your host, Clara Rose. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.